23 years ago, on the 13th of September in Washington, D.C., there was widespread euphoria. The Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and Israeli PM Yitzhak Rabin sealed a peace agreement. Since 1948, Israel and Palestine had been locked in deadly territorial disputes. Shimon Peres, then Chief Israeli Diplomat, was one of the Accords' principal architects. In 1993, the first measure of the Accord created the Palestinian National Authority, a supposedly temporary entity destined to be dissolved in 1999 after facilitating the creation of an independent state. In 1994, Yasser Arafat returned to the West Bank after 27 years in exile to establish an autonomous government. He would be elected first president of the Palestinian National Authority in 1996. In 1995, the Oslo Accords' second measure divided the West Bank into three zones. A was under exclusively Palestinian control and B was under shared control. In Section C, 60% of Israeli army-occupied territory was gradually to come under Palestinian control. The thorniest issues were left to future negotiations. These included the defining of borders between the two states, the definitive status of Jerusalem, and the Israeli settlements occupying the West Bank. Other contentious issues included the rights of Palestinian refugees to return, including those expelled during the creation of the Israeli state in 1948. In November 1995, Labour Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin's assassination by a Jewish extremist who shot him twice in the back dealt a fatal blow to the Oslo process. Shimon Peres became interim PM, but longtime opponent of the agreement, Benjamin Netanyahu, took office a year later. The attempt in 2000 to settle the so-called permanent status agenda failed on the 25th of July after 2 weeks of negotiations at Camp David. It was the end of the Oslo Agreement and the start of a downward spiral. 2 months after this failed attempt, the interim authority was supposed to end. Having waited 50 years for their own state, the Palestinians engaged in a second intifada, known as Al-Aqsa. For their part, the Israelis engaged in successive wars in Gaza and accelerated settlement building in the West Bank, making the one territory, one state concept more difficult to achieve. Nearly 25 years on from the Oslo Accord, and a viable solution seems as distant a hope as ever.